I want to talk about you as a businesswoman because there was some information that just completely blew me away. That there was a time when you were obviously seeking investors and trying to get investment. And when you were going to these meetings, you covered up your pregnancy because you didn't want to be discriminated against, because we know the stigma around like just women in general, but let alone a pregnant woman and how we are viewed as in the workplace.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about this because my heart broke.
Oh, it was so sad. So we think that, but not only that, I read it from an investor that I really looked up to in Los Angeles, wrote a blog right when I got pregnant. And it was all about how he was thinking about investing in a female CEO, but he was nervous that she was going to get pregnant and then not follow through with the company. And he wrote all of his thoughts out. So it was actually after I read that blog where I realized I cannot share this information or I'm not going to be able to get funding for the company. And so it was summertime and I was very pregnant, wearing trench coats and these big baggy clothes, like showing up. And so we were able to raise the funding. I actually didn't even tell my co-founder at the time because I didn't want her to walk in and not feel confident in the meetings. So I hid it from everyone. And then after we raised the funds, I told her and ultimately my investors. And it was interesting. I ran into one of my advisors at a coffee shop, pregnant. And that was the first time he saw. And I could tell he had this blank stare, like a train. It was so obvious. So later that day, I called him. It's like, I saw you at the coffee shop. You seemed a little bit surprised. Is everything okay? And he said, actually, no, I had a really negative visceral reaction when I saw you. And I thought to myself, how can a pregnant person run a dating company? And so that just confirmed everything that I had been thinking. So and that was now like 10 plus years ago. So there weren't very many female founders out there at the time. But that was very much the bias. Years later, I found myself going out to raise another round of funding and I was pregnant again. My timing's not the best. And
that's how it usually is.
So I decided not to hide it this time. I thought we have the metrics to prove that we're a successful company. I am not hiding this pregnancy. I walked into every meeting, tight dresses, rocked my belly.
Let's go.
And no one would give me funding. The only people who invested either knew me from before or only spoke to me over the phone. I had these meetings where I would Zoom with male investors and they would ask, they're like, oh, you're pregnant, stand up and twirl around. Let me see your belly. And some said, I'm interested, but why don't you have the baby and we can talk after. So again, it was a struggle to raise the funds pregnant.
My heart hurts so much. I'm just so sad to hear that because I don't think much has changed. I don't.
The good thing is we have more female investors now. I do think that's an improvement.
I think the change that happened is that there's more female investors that are knowing our power and they're just like, okay, great, you're pregnant. That's amazing. Yes. Okay, and here's the investment because literally moms are superheroes.
Yes.
And if there's anybody that you want to invest in, it is a mother.
Yes.
Because we will make it happen.
Do it all.
We know how to get deadlines done. Like we know how to meet deadlines. We know how to be efficient. We know how to balance. We know, I mean, even if we're stressing ourselves out, we get it done. We
get the job. And people would ask, well, what happens when you have the baby? And I would say, I have 50 babies that I take care of at 3-day rule. I have all my employees. They are my children too.
Right.
But it was rough. Again, that was years ago. I do think we are making progress and I see more badass women who are founders and raising families. So I think we are making progress, but it's slow.
It's hard. It's so hard. What would you say is your best piece of advice for me? I'm an entrepreneur. I wear many hats and I'm a mom. I'm a new mom. Our baby's 17 months. So we are in the thick of things. Yes. Best piece of advice for me when it comes to balancing my life.
Yes.
My career has been everything for me and it continues to be everything while also now realizing I am responsible for our child. And, you know, we want to be the best in everything. We want to be the best parent, and we also want to be the best in our career. Yeah. Best piece of advice for me.
My advice is whatever you decide to do, that is the best decision. You want to go to the soccer game? That was the best choice. You want to skip the soccer game and do some work? That was the best choice. And don't second guess yourself. Like, just be present and know that was the right decision for you.
I love that. Do you feel like that advice has helped you be the successful founder that you are while also being an incredible parent?
It does help. I don't feel guilty like I used to. So if I'm showing up for my kid, I know that that is the right move, and I will get my work done at 11 o'clock or 6 a.m. Like, it will get done. And so I don't feel guilty anymore about like spending those precious moments with them.